So Puxii is definitely suffering a couple of setbacks economically, and TheRaffy is continuing to branch out. There's his first MCB, I believe. I think that's his first one. Although I see some other buildings going up on the left there, just to the left of this screen on the radar. I see some blobs of green. It looks like that's probably more or less, you know, he's going to start working his way a little bit closer to Puxii's base, I would imagine. But he's already got at least one extra construction yard built out there, and there's another one. So he's moving on. He's got several construction yards now. So it looks like five total, including the MCBs when they deploy. So he will be able to drop buildings in very short order. He'll be able to just basically. If he sees an attack coming, he could drop five turrets down and have them all be finished at the same time. So he's got a lot of build potential and a lot of redundancy too, because losing your one and only construction yard is about the worst thing that can happen to you. So, if you're going for any kind of a longer game strategy, any kind of a build that goes beyond an early rush, you should definitely, work toward getting MCVs and having an extra construction yard. Otherwise, you're just going to get, if you lose it and you don't have the ability to make more, well, it's basically you're stuck. So it's game over for you. So let's see what's going on here. We have Puxii, who has a palace and a starport already. He's going straight up to some of the higher ticket items. I'm not sure exactly what his plan yet is as far as alliances go. I do see that there's a palace for TheRaffy as well. Haven't seen any special units that I can tell for either of them, so I just can't tell from looking at them exactly who's allied with what faction. But we will see hopefully shortly. Looks there's a whole pile of flak trikes for TheRaffy. He's waiting to do some anti-air harass, and he's got a lot of refineries. How many? It looks like 10, 11, maybe more. There's an awful lot of refineries over in the TheRaffy side. He's got a huge harvesting operation built up, and Puxii's is nothing to sneeze at either, but the TheRaffy is going crazy. That looks like 4 more refineries, if I'm not mistaken. He is really planning on building up some large forces. So here come the flak trikes down to do some harassment of the economy, and he's got a few other trikes just kind of sitting around exploring. But I believe any second he's going to move those flak trikes down next to those harvesters who can't defend themselves. They don't have any support units near them. Deciding to do a little actual harvester harass with a single trike for whatever reason, bringing him in for the fun. And here come the flak trikes, probably going to knock down that carryall, and they do. So there's 800 credits lost for Puxii right off the bat. He loses the time and the money associated with that carryall. So let's see how he reacts to that. Puxii has, as I said, Puxii has a very decent economy, and he's got a lot of refineries, and he must be making a ton of money. I'm really wondering what he's doing with it. And one thing I've seen Puxii do very often. Okay, here comes some drops, which is a favorite tactic of TheRaffy. But one thing I've seen Puxii do many times is he saves up a lot of money so that he can counter opponent attacks and try and be strategic in the way he reacts to things on a macro scale by saying, okay, the enemy's coming at me with an infantry wave, so now I'm gonna pour a lot of money into rocket launchers. So Puxii very often seems to have a whole lot of money in reserve that he's just not spending. So let's see if we can figure out exactly what he's doing with it. He's putting down a couple more. Looks like maybe a couple more refineries even over on the right. And meanwhile, TheRaffy is, I think he's just put down a whole pile of heavy vehicle factories on the left there. Maybe not. No, those aren't heavy vehicle factories. He is putting down high-tech factories. I just saw TheRaffy drop 4 more high-tech factories, and dropping 4 high-tech factories all at once, that really makes you think of only one thing, which is mass ornithopter, and that's a wild tactic that doesn't get used too often, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, you really don't just drop 4 high-tech factories and say, oh, I'm going to build 24 carryalls. That usually doesn't happen. So he has 5 high-tech factories. He has the capability to have a lot of planes in the air. And actually, I already know how this game's going to end, as I said. So I am aware of exactly what he's going to do. But I'm just trying to give you some suspense here. Now, here you can see a whole pile of harvesters. Half of them are getting eaten because they're just too close. They're harvesting too close to their own operations. The carryalls can't get there in time before the worms swallow them. So you can see there's some problems with that, but oh well. Puxie's setting up some initial units for whatever reason, doing a little head scouting or something, and I think I just saw a networking bug because it looked like he just had that quad get swallowed, but the quad appears to still be there. So, not sure what happened there. Well, in fact, I think this is where the game broke down. So, let me just analyze where it was going to end and let you know. So, when I talked to these players after this game was over, what I heard was that TheRaffy went on to build even more high tech factories and ended up with something like 60 ornithopters, which it was supposed to be pretty much an epic finish. So he had like 60 ornithopters, and then Puxii, with of course all that money that he always likes to save up, poured it all into flak trikes and ended up building something like 80 flak trikes to try and fight off 60 ornithopters. So you can imagine, what it looked like. I wish I could have captured that, but unfortunately I didn't. Puxii did end up losing just because the ornithopters did too much initial damage when they popped out before he could get the flak drakes out to defend himself. So he was just left too vulnerable. But currently the way things are going, both players massive operations of economy. So who knows what was going to happen if that didn't happen? That's probably a fitting way for the game to end. It's just one giant assault with so many ornithopters. So hopefully we get to see that again at a later time. But anyway, hopefully you saw a few good things in here and I was able to tell you some things. So thanks for watching and have a good one. Bye.